Hello guys and welcome back to another episode of Player Breakdown. In today's episode we have the #1 player in the world, ex-content creator. It's Graveyard, or Gravy. How are you doing, mate?
We're all doing good here, watching out for that last metallic to hit 1000 right now. Imagine that happens in this moment, right here.
Yeah, that'd be so awesome.
It is possible.
Okay. Disclaimer before the video actually starts. I recorded the first part of the video, it didn't save, so I have to redo it all over again. That's why the video is not going to be in chronological order. Let's start with the questions. The first one being about collectallpets. What do you think of collectallpets?
So, as a game,
Yes.
you think that it's pretty much like any other pet collector game, right?
Yeah, like a pet sim game or something.
Yes,
But
so
it's
it
way
looks
different.
pretty similar or very basic at first, when you do your first lap around, your first rebirth.
Yeah.
But as you get deeper into it, when you do your first rebirth, you get into the cave, and you realize that there's definitely more to this game than meets the eye at first.
Yeah.
And I got the metallic!
Let's go!
It's gonna go to 1000!
On stream! Sorry, on
That just
recording.
happened in the middle of it. I'll definitely save that moment.
Okay.
And
Then we don't.
But yeah, so for the game itself, it looks very basic at first, right? That's what you would think. But as you get deeper and deeper into it, you realize that there's more and more layers to it. You get the rebirth cave, and then you have to really plan ahead what you want to do in there. And then you get a lab, you get the pet factory, and all these things. It just adds up on each other, and also the way things work within the game, how, for example, you would think that shinies eventually become useless as you get metallics, but that's never the case, since all scaling is based off of shinies
Yes.
and pet score. So there's so many different things that keep you going, and it's the deep layers of everything that really hooks you in this game,
Yeah.
I think.
What would you like to see added in collectallpets and why?
I would say it's roughly around the time period where, to give some backstory to this, I know the last announcement from Chuzus was that he's playing on an alt to go over certain fun in the gaps in the fun.
But
Which
that is
probably-
it changed on the leaderboard.
That's 1000 right there. Yes. But yeah, so I would say that gap in the fun starts at 0.5, because at that point you've still made decent progress along the way to get there. It's like it always feels like you're doing something. The gameplay up until that point is quite active.
Yeah.
But then you hit a wall where you start to get med luck, you start to upgrade your pet factory, and it becomes very AFK compared to before, and it almost seems impossible to progress, which may become like a shocker for a newer player.
Yeah.
So that if you add something at that point of the game, I think you'd be able to keep interest of newer players.
Yeah. I feel like 0.5 to 0.6 is probably the step that takes the longest if you play it properly, strategically. I mean, it took me, and I'm not a good person to say this because it takes me longer because of limited playing time, but it took me personally 8 months to get from 0.5 to 0.6.
Yeah, because that really is when you start to hit a wall where progress becomes very slow and difficult.
Yeah.
And it's not very active either, so it's a lot of passive progress, you could say.
Yeah, exactly.
And most of it is pure RNG, so you just sit and wait and hope. So I think that would be the point where something could be added. After Ascension it's not as bad, but before, especially for newer players, that might be a little bit like, going into a brick wall. I think that's where most players give up.
Yeah. So to any of my friends who watch and are 0.5, don't give up. You'll get through it. It's a strategy. It will take a while, but you will be getting advantage out of it if you play it correctly.
Yeah, for sure. It's getting through that point, then it gets better again.
Yes. Well, how did you start with collectallpets? This is actually a question I forgot in the first recording.
Oh yeah, This is interesting because Roblox was never a game I even looked at, pretty much. Like, I had no interest in it. And it was actually one night when my friend was here, and he always borrows my laptop when he's here, and he would play this game on my laptop.
So collectallpets.
And I was like, yeah, I can join you for a moment. I'm probably not gonna enjoy the game that much, but let's just have a good time. And well, I got stuck. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. And here we are 2 years later. Even though I did take a 1 year break, though, gotta mention that. But about 1 year of playtime now, I'd say.
Okay. What do you like the most about collectallpets? Actually, funny thing, real quick. When I don't know if I probably didn't meant it like that, but when I recorded this with my kill and I asked what do you like the most about collectallpets, I think he might accidentally said collectallpets.
Oh yeah, yeah. So what I like the most about it, it's the depth of it, which goes hand in hand with what I mentioned before. It's just the layers of everything, and there's always something you can improve.
Yeah.
And that's also kind of cool with the ascensions. Every ascension is going to be different than the previous one, because you get more stat multipliers, and that's going to affect your entire progress all the way through.
Yeah.
And always having to figure out the absolute best path for you to take. And it's always changing now that we get more multipliers and more exotic pets. And it's almost impossible to reach that perfection, but always trying to be as near as possible.
Yeah.
I think that's what keeps me going.
Yeah. Talking of progressing fast, you, Michael, and Flu, who are on the leaderboard. Flu is not on the top 3, but he is pretty close. I think. Yeah, he's at number 23. Yeah. You guys made a plan together on how to improve at the game as fast as you can. How did you come up with the plan? Who came up with the plan, and why did you come up with the plan? Well, why I just explained, but how and why? How and who?
It's an interesting thing. I did have my own plan or ideas before I ascended. I had made some plans beforehand, and I actually changed my mind multiple times on which pet to pick, and also even how to distribute my stat points. So I actually came to my final decision just a few hours before Ascension actually released, or became available rather. I ended up with 1.2 shiny, 1.8 metluck, and the egg luck.
You don't have to explain what you have done if you don't want to.
But the thing with that is, the plan itself, it became more of a fun thing, because I remember Mikhail, he streamed a lot, 12-hour streams during the first few days of the Ascension.
I remember because when he's streaming for me, it started at 7 p.m. Then I'd go to bed at like 10, 11, and then one of the streams he was actually still streaming at 7 a.m. for me, and I just joined the call at 7 a.m. So he heard me in the stream being very tired. It was really fun.
And this is sort of before we even started talking, and he would always mention the plan, so to speak. And I had my own idea, or a plan rather. But when we did start talking, it turned out that our ideas and the plan, so to speak, was pretty much very similar, actually. Minor differences, which reflects upon what we picked for Ascension. But in general, we had roughly the same ideas, and since then we have sort of worked together, you could almost say, to refine those ideas and come up with even better, refined versions to set up the ultimate plan. Which then, it became the name of it, the ultimate plan. I think we actually just called it that at that point,
Now, we discussed collectallpets, how we are gonna move on to some other questions. Actually, this one is about collectallpets, but it's on the other section. A few days ago, I interviewed Michael, and it's on my channel. I'll link above. He was number 1, and then you took his number 1 spot, which I was actually quite upset about at first. Now not anymore. But how do you? because now you are number one. How does it feel to be number one in the world?
I mean, it is cool, and I think it's more of those things that it's not something I'm taking for granted right now, because it is still gonna fluctuate a lot. I mean, there's people who have more progress than me in other areas, so at 1.8 roughly it's gonna even out a bit, and I want to say that I'm trying to not take it out in advance, because collector score progress on the leaderboards doesn't always correctly reflect the actual progress of people. It's visual progress rather than actual total progress.
Yeah.
So if I can reach the second ascension first, I think that's when I would start to celebrate properly, because that's a huge lead.
I saw you had a YouTube channel. How and why did you? How did you start uploading, and why did you stop?
Right. So that old channel, which I think I started, what is it, like 11 or 12 years ago. It was actually Minecraft gameplay, which was based off of a game that I used to play. Not to go in depths, but I held a world record in that game for 3 years, #1 spot. So that channel is directly connected to that, which is sort of, once that game died down, I haven't uploaded since then. Which is still something I don't know if I will ever do again. Like, I haven't decided fully yet, but for now I've kinda let that channel go into the grave with the actual game mode itself.
Go into your name.
Yes. Yes, suits perfectly.
So is that why you named the graveyard? Because you decided to kill it and put it in the grave?
My name Graveyard actually goes way further back than that. Now we're talking about like 2007, when I played an MMO, and I made a necromancer, and I was sitting there for 20 minutes trying to come up with a name, and eventually I just gave up and let's just call myself Graveyard.
Okay.
And that's the name I've used ever since then.
With a 4.
That actually happened in Minecraft, because even if I bought my account back in Alpha 2009, Graveyard was already taken, so I had to use a 4. But that became iconic, so I have used a 4 ever since.
Okay. You don't know me for that long, but how do you think my progression has gone? I started collectallpets in 2022, took a half-a-year break, and then I started actively playing from August 2022 till now, and now I'm at 0.6 with the giant.
Yeah,
also you're all just disconnected.
Oh yeah, that's fine. But yeah, I think your progress is pretty decent. I mean, if you look at it from this perspective, that you've been playing 1 to 3 hours a day, right?
Yeah.
So if you really think about that, even if you've been playing for over a year, I mean, especially that 0.5 part takes so long, even if you
I think it takes the longest out of all of collector's cores.
Yeah, and your first giant already having over 300k damage, that's actually really good, because that means you have good background scaling.
What does scaling actually mean?
The idea of scaling would be, it's basically your amount of shinies that you have accumulated, which contributes to scaling. So what I mean by scaling is that once you scale faster if you have a higher shiny chance, because then you get more shinies.
Yeah.
And damage is scaled based off of shinies through polished metal.
That's true.
And also your income through glittering gold.
Yeah.
So that's what makes you scale, so to speak.
Like it scales on top of each other. Every shiny gets more damage and more gold.
Yeah.
Okay.
So scaling, in another word, would be shiny accumulation, I'd say.
Yeah. Okay. Did you like doing this? Do you want to do this again, and if so, when do you want to do this again?
Yeah, I think roughly around the second ascension, right? And we could sort of do a thing where we have sort of a kind of a walkthrough, or we go through certain details regarding the first ascension.
But not the plan, because the plan is secret.
Yeah, but maybe even more than that. So, like certain stages and what's important to think about.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool, actually.
Alright.
And then discuss plans ahead, perhaps.
So, Gravy, would you be down for a metallic race?
Ooh. Absolutely. Absolutely.
First to metallic or ingot wins.
You're going against that 1K badge now, right?
Yeah.
And also the ascension bonus.
Yeah, I know.
You might still win though. You might still win.
I'm curious.
It's not impossible.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it. And let's make it so ingots count as well.
Yeah.
Since we have different titanium saturation in our indexes.
Yeah.
So any metallic hit counts.
Yeah, and then I just have to pray I get one quickly in my metallic boost, because you have a 1 in 8k metallic chance.
Yeah. Alright.
Hello, Frog.
Hello.
So do you have any tips for beginners? Do you have any tips for beginners?
I'd say what we spoke a little bit about
Server
before.
stuff.
Yes, the first thing you want to look at as you start, try to get into good servers basically.
Yeah.
And as someone who starts fresh, they probably don't have the privilege of going into a powerful private server.
Yeah.
You can join the Discord, the CAP Discord, and sometimes there are servers up for boosting.
Yeah.
It can be really difficult to get into them, and they're not all very good, but they still may be better than like a normal random public. So it might be worth looking into. But the other tip would be, and actually to find a decent server, just exclude full servers and join 11 out of 12 player servers with good looking avatars, because well invested avatars tend to be further progressed in the game. So that would be my number one tip, just to set you off for a good start. And then you keep your pets in. It would have to be mountains early on, but if they're doing grotto, just follow the pets basically.
Wait, Craig, I have to DM you something real quick, because I don't want to say it out loud on video.
Yep.
Alright, so thank you, the DM.
Yeah, let's go for it. Absolutely.
Okay. But I need you to make the screenshot, because if I make it myself, I see your username in the screen. And then
that's true. Yeah, that's true. No, we'll do that.
Yeah.
What kind of background do you want? Do you want it to be like?
No, I just need your avatar. I can remove the background.
Oh yeah, okay, you're gonna use like paint.net or Photoshop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
let's do
background.
that. Then the second tip, if we're going into beginner areas, that would be, you basically want to get as much EC in the beginning as possible.
Yeah.
And it's to set you up well for when you start to generate, basically.
Sorry.
You don't want to...
That cracked me up. Okay, sorry. Sorry for interrupting. Like, you were explaining something, and it was like said so, and then I turned off my volume, so I was like, oof.
Oh. Okay.
Let me screen share so people can watch.
Absolutely.
I can't alt tab. I can't change my screen. What screen am I sharing, Frog?
Let me break. Yeah, I'm looking at roblox.
Alright, that's good. Okay, you can continue on, Gravy.
Alright. Yeah, so that's the first step, because you want to build EC score. So on top of making a lot more gold, which is important early, you'd also make more EC for the future. This allows you then to, when you get to 10k, you sort of want to be able to as fast as possible gen prod.
Yeah.
You don't really want to spend as much time maybe doing epic or legendary since you probably won't be able to afford projects the first time around unless you have a really good server.
Yes.
But that's the idea of it. Because you reach many points where that rolling is going to help you with the boosted PC.
Yes.
Now for the first rebirth, I'd recommend to either, because a good server allows you to save way more stones than you used to do back in the days. The meta back then used to be to just save or rebirth instantly to get cheap rates and prime prod. You don't really do that anymore if you have a good server. You can do something like save up 38 shards to get cheap rates and a magnet.
Yes, exactly.
That's one route. The other one would be cheap rates and just a lot of hatch speed, so you can go a lot faster second time around. Because
hatching takes a while.
Because if income isn't your problem when you're hatching, you want to be able to hatch faster to make stones faster.
Yes.
So I think the best general idea is you have to adapt your circumstances a lot, because there's a very big difference between new players today. Some people do play on the average public, and that's going to be a much more difficult
environment.
Standpoint. Yeah, it's going to be way more difficult. If you're on a good server, you may do 38 stones in just an hour, maybe less even. Whereas if you're on the average public server, or not, you don't get boosted at all, basically. 35 stones could take a couple days even, maybe more. So there's a huge variation. That's why actually finding a good server, or decent at least, that's actually the biggest difference.
Yeah.
The route you go in the rebirth cave, it does matter, but the biggest difference is going to be finding a good server.
Yes.
It is really the one thing that makes it so the 10k pet score could take many weeks or just a couple days for the first time.
Because it took me a year to get 10k, I think.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have a good server. And then when I got a good server, I went really fast.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Okay, I got an ingot.
GG.
That's the win. That's the win.
Yeah.
That's the race win.
I guess so.
And I found some. Yo, Mikkel, welcome to the race.
Yo.
Me and Gravy are recording a metallic race for my video.
Oh.
And actually, at the moment you joined, Gravy won the race.
Yep.
Yeah, you bring good luck here. Thank you.
Credit goes to Mikkel.
Yeah, as soon as I joined, the first thing I heard Gravy said, "Oh, I got an ingot."
Yeah.
Yeah. The best ingot I have ever had.
Because it won you the race. Funny thing was, when we recorded this the first time, which I lost the footage of, I think I actually won the race.
Yeah, you did. You did actually.
Yeah.
Of course you did.
The thing is though, we didn't take ingots as a win back then.
Yes.
And I was genning with more than 50% titanium saturation as well.
That's true.
Which
I mean,
is...
I have 50% titanium saturation as well now.
Oh yeah, but that's good. I mean, it's good progress.
I have not jammed a single comment since that recording.
Yeah.
Until this recording session.
That's a good thing though. I mean, you want to take a step back and get the upgrades done.
I know why I'm not getting mats.
Oh.
And I know why I lost the race. I just realized something. Guess what I forgot?
You're not in a met build.
Yes! Oh my gosh, this is actually hilarious.
What if you would have won there?
Gravy?
If you were actually in the correct build.
Gravy?
Yes.
I switched to metallic build within 10 seconds I got an ingot.
That's crazy. That's
crazy.
Bro.
That's hilarious.
Oh, you need to include that. You need to include
I will include this entire met boost. Because we're talking tips for people who just start out. And like I said in the video already, so people who are 0.4, 0.5, don't give up on this game. Because yes, it's gonna take a while, but it's worth it. It took me 8 months to get from 0.5 to 0.6.
Yeah, and that's actually something that is very important to put out there. I think I did mention that when we talked about the gaps in
we did.
so which is it is basically 0.5 or 0.5. When you reach that the first time, you're going from this sort of active gameplay where you rebirth and constantly get new upgrades, and you actually see progress all the time. It feels like you're achieving something non-stop.
And it feels like because you're not getting anything for such a long time, it feels like you're doing something wrong. But if you follow the right strategy, you're not doing something wrong. It just takes a while, which is normal at 0.4, 0.5. I think it's the collector score that takes the longest to complete. 0.4 to 0.5 and the 0.5 to 0.6. I think those take the longest.
Definitely one of them, yeah. And that's just the thing. At that stage, you're coming from this active gameplay, and it changes a lot. Like, it's like you're entering a different game almost, because now you have the crank. Before you used to hatch at the same time as you genned, but it's basically still the same idea. You pretty much AFK and hope for results.
Yeah.
As you also at the same time you scale your stats by getting more EC. You get shinies, which scales your gold income and damage, things like that. But it's such a wall to get through, especially early on when your met luck is low. You have to get your calcify luck, gen speed up. There's so many things to work on, and you don't see the results immediately, and even then it's still slow.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're not doing much. It's basically 3 different upgrades that you're going for.
Yeah, metallic luck, calcify luck, gen speed.
So I think, that's definitely something that should there should be some aspect added at that stage of the game, I think, because to be completely honest, I think that's where most players give up.
Yeah, exactly. And I understand why. It's understandable why, because it's really hard to do.
Yeah, because that's really where you need to be super dedicated to make it through that.
I'm happy I did. And the whole reason why I was able to do that is because I was part of Michael's community. To be honest, on my own, I might not have been able to pull through. The reason I pulled through from 0.4, 0.5 is because I wanted to see everyone's reaction when I succeeded on getting metallics and stuff. It was such a relief to get my first one, because it took so long. Without your community, I'm not sure if I would have been able to compete to do it.
Yeah, for sure. And that's it as well. Like later on, you have another slow collector score, which is 0.7. But at least at that point, you can still mine. You still have different progression paths.
Yes.
There's multiple different things you can focus on.
On 0.4, 0.5, there's only one thing to focus on, and that's getting mets and getting upgrades.
Yeah, there's 3 different things to upgrade, basically.
And the one thing I like, and I recommend this to everyone all the time. The one thing I always say when people are getting to 0.4, 0.5, don't focus on getting mets. Getting upgrades is way more important, and also works.
Absolutely.
IMO works better. Like because you can't force getting metallics, but you can increase the odds by upgrading. You know.
Yeah, because you gotta consider the fact that gen speed is technically higher met luck as well by sheer amount.
Yeah.
And that also increases your stone income. So some advice for 0.5 though, which it is a little bit different now when you get the mine at 100. So what you want to do is maybe gen prod until you have about 50 to 60 metallics.
Yeah.
Where it starts to be saturated with titaniums.
Yeah.
Then you go down to common once you have the old max of metluck, 100 clicks.
Yes.
At that point you just want to rush the mine, you want to get in there so you can buy the Ascended Gem.
Because the Ascended Gem is huge. Without it, it's really hard to progress further.
Absolutely. So that should be the focus for 0.5, and this is like actually rushing mets as a strat at 0.5. I'd say for a new player who hasn't Ascended, that's not gonna be as valid. I think you need to go more heavy on calcify gen before you invest in Metluck a lot.
And I also always recommend people to get more than 100% calcify because it helps out a ton with getting stones.
It sure does, yeah.
Like for when you're hatching prods, you should open prodigious. If you're hatching ascendage, you can have eggluck. Just if you have prods, calcify. If you have ascended, go eggluck.
Yeah. Now the thing is, as soon as you get into mine, as soon as you have ascended, that 0.5 strat where you actually push metallics harder than you did first time is kind of valid, because if you picked, let's say, in my case 1.8x Metluck or 2x Metluck, you will be able to sort of push that way faster and reach that 100, so you get that ascended gem even sooner.
Yes.
But for someone who hasn't ascended, I wouldn't say pushing metallics is the right way to go. It's probably better to build up more before.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Changes a bit. Yeah, of course.
Thank you very much for the tips. I need to end the recording now because my metallic bushes run out. So thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though it was a bit of a long one. Sorry about that. And I'll see you guys in the next episode of Player Breakdown. Goodbye.
See you all. Hope everything was helpful. I know, I mean, I have some opinions and everything, but it's like, I'm just glad for this opportunity as well. It was actually really fun to do.
Yeah. And even though this took a couple days to record, it's fine. This was a fun thing to do. See you guys in the next episode. Goodbye.